Do you love pearls but they're too classic for your style? I'll show you how to make a necklace that fits the bill. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Carol. Today I'm making a necklace with very classic baby pink round glass pearls, but I'm going to add a little bit of edge to it by adding some interesting charms. Let me talk you step by step through the process of making this necklace, and I'll talk about everything that you need as well. Let's get started. In front of me I have already laid out my bead design board with my pearls. So all I've done here is laid out pearls. These are 6mm glass pearls in the colour baby pink, and I've laid them out so that they go up to 16 centimetres on either side. Now with this necklace, I want it to sit quite high on my neck. I don't want it to be a choker, but I don't want it to sit too low either. So I'm going to make it 32 centimetres long, which is about 12.5 inches, and well, we'll see. I'll string on these beads and we'll see what happens if it's going to be long enough. I need to remember also when I'm making my necklace or deciding how long I want it, that my clasp will add a couple of centimetres, so you need to allow for that as well. So I've got my beautiful pearls here. As well as that, I'm going to use this gorgeous heart as my centre focal piece. And I've got two other heart beads here as well. I figured let's go hearts, right? Go hard or go home. As well as that, I have this gorgeous filigree heart charm, and just diverting from the heart theme for a moment, I've got a little butterfly charm, and I've got two little star beads. These are transparent glass star beads, and you will remember these ones from the bookmark that I made just before Christmas. As well as that, I have, keeping in tune with the hearts, a heart clasp, and I've also got some little 4mm jump rings here. I've got some 5cm head pins and some 5cm eye pins. Apart from that, the only other thing I'm using is some tiger tail. This is a 0.38mm, but you could use 0.45 if you wanted to, and it's in the colour silver grey. I will need some tools. I'm going to be using my flush cutters. I'm going to be using 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, and I'm going to be using my round nose pliers. Now if you would like to buy anything that I've shown you here today, you can buy it all from our website, and I will leave you a link in the description box below to a blog post which contains details about everything that you need. So make sure you check that out. Also, watch to the end of the video and I will give you a code to get a 20% discount on all of these supplies. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this out of the way for a minute. I'm going to make my little dangles. I'm going to start off with my heart, my centre. So I've got my heart there, and I'm going to take a head pin, and all I'm going to do is thread it on from the bottom. Oh dear, we've got a problem. So you can see there that my head pin is actually going up through my heart. So that doesn't work. So I'm just going to grab a bead and we'll put a bead on the bottom. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got a 3mm ball here. It's a metal ball, and I will add that to the list of requirements. Okay, so I'm going to feed on my little ball, and it's just going to stop the head pin going up inside that heart. It actually looks quite cute too, so all the better. Right, next I am going to make a loop in the top here. Now with these heart beads, I found that you need to bend your wire for your loop about where the top of the heart is, otherwise you can't get down into the V there. So I'm just popping my pliers there, and I'm going to bend my wire over like that. Now if you haven't made a loop before, I've got a video on how to do that, so I will leave you a link in the description box below for that. And I am just going to cut that off at about 1 centimetre there. Whoops, it went flying away. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to make a loop. All right. So just turning and adjusting and turning again. Now I've made a really wonky loop because the bead was moving up and down, but that's okay. You know what? Now that I look at it, I'm going to change it. I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to add a couple of the little balls on the top too. I don't want to add too many because what I need is a little bit of space so that the wire can go up between the beads. But let's have a play. So I'm going to take my ball again and put it on. Now my heart, and I'm going to pop on 2 more little balls. What do you think? Do you need 1 or 2? I think I'm just going to go with 1. Let me know in the comment section, did I make the right choice? Just going with 1, or did you like 2? Okay, now I'm going to bend my wire over at the top. And I'm going to cut it to a centimetre. So that is what I have now. Now I'm going to make my loop. What I'm trying to do is tuck it in on top of the bead, and the bead keeps getting in the way. So I'm just going to hold the bead down with my thumb, put my other finger on the bottom. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of got my round nose pliers in there, and I'm kind of pulling back and pushing round at the same time. There we go. All right, so there is my loop, my heart with its loop. And that will spin around in there. There we go. Right, so there is my first component. Now I'm going to take my little pink heart here, and I'm going to do the same thing. This time I don't have to add a bead because I know it's not going to go through, the head pin's not going to go through. And I'm just going to put a bend at the top there and make a loop exactly the same way. So cutting it off at 1 centimetre. And making my loop. And there we go, that's component number 2. Now the other heart, it already has a bail on it, so I'm not going to add anything to this one. With my little stars, I'm going to use a head pin just exactly the same way. Just cutting off that. So I'll do that with both stars. All right, now I have made all of my little charm components. What I'm going to do is make these 2 here. And I'm actually going to use an eye pin to do this. So I've got 2 eye pins here. So I'm going to open up my loop here on the bottom of my eye pin. And I'm going to put on my little charm and close my loop. So that's what I have. And now I'm going to make a loop in the top. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space, just taking my pliers, and what I'm going to do is just put them right at the top of that loop there. And I'm going to bend, just like before. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my loop. What I want to do is make my loops going in opposite directions. So one is going one way and one is going the other. So I just want to make sure it is basically at right angles from each other. Here we go. And I'm going to repeat that with the other one. So I've run into a little problem here. This little charm here has a tiny wee hole and my eye pin won't go through the hole. It's just too big. So instead of using an eye pin, I'm going to use a little piece of 21 gauge wire. This is a half hard wire. I will leave you the link for this one as well, and you only need, 5 centimeters, 2 inches. So I'm going to put a bend in the wire about 1 centimeter from the top and just make a right angle and make a loop. Just like I did before. So there's my loop. Now I'm going to put on my charm. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to make a loop in the other end. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of space, not much, just maybe a few millimeters, and I'm going to make a loop in this end. Now you want to make sure that your loops are going in different directions, just like before. Now I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to open that loop and feed on my charm. Oh, it's still tight, but it will work. Okay. All right. So there we go. Now to lay this out, just come back over here. What we're going to do is we're going to put our red heart in the middle. I'm going to put a blue one on about there and a pink one on about there. In between, I'm going to put some charms. All right, and I'm going to put my little stars up the top here. What do you think? Okay, so now I'm just going to string them on, and I've got my tiger tail here. I'm going to be using, I'm actually going to use a bead stopper, and I didn't say that, I'm sorry. All right, so if you haven't used one of these before, basically it's a spring and you just pop your tiger tail or whatever you're using inside, and it means that it won't move, so it stops your beads falling off. So now I've got to make a decision about where I will, whether or not I will use jump rings to attach these components. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start, I normally would start here and work my way around, but I'm actually going to start from the center because I want to figure out whether or not this is going to work. And I think for this first one, for the heart, I am going to use a jump ring. So I'm just going to take my pliers. Now these are 4mm jump rings, so they're quite small. And opening my jump ring and feeding on my little heart, or my large heart, and closing my jump ring. Now if you haven't used jump rings before, I will leave you a link in the description box below to a video all about how to use them. I'm just double checking that it's closed. There we go. So there you go, there it is with its little jump ring on. Now the reason I put a jump ring on, and I know that this turns, but it kind of makes that, it means that it will sit better. So I'm going to start off, I'm actually going to start, I think, 2 beads off the center. So I'm going to put on 2 of my pearls. And then I'm going to put on my heart here. And now 2 more of the pearls so that I can see what it's going to look like. And it's good to test how things will hang as well. Oops, I lost my bead. So there we go. Hopefully you can see that that's going to hang really nicely. And the addition of that little jump ring has done that. All right, so I'm going to put on, I think, another 2 beads. Just move my pliers, they're in the way. So popping on another 2 of my beads, and now I'm going to put on my charm. And once again, I have to decide, will I put it on just like this, or will I add a jump ring? And at the moment, if I put it on, let's see what it looks like. So you can see there that it's hanging sideways. So I am going to use my little jump ring to add that one. So once again, just opening it in the same way and popping it on. You need to make sure that everything's really well closed on this necklace, particularly because you're putting jump rings onto a piece of tiger tail, so you want to make sure that they're not going to fall off, or that the tiger tail's not going to slip through. Just a little bit more. Sometimes it helps to look at your jump ring from different angles and you will get a better idea of what's going on with it. All right, there we go. Now you can see it's hanging better. It's hanging towards the front how I want it to. And it will move around when you wear it, but when your skin's against it, it will probably be fine. Do you think that's too close? I'm not sure. What do you think? I think it might need to go 1 more bead. I'm going to put 1 more. Trial and error, that's what designing jewellery is all about. Now I've put my charm on, you see I've put it on backwards. So you need to make sure that you put it on the right way so that it's going to face the right way. There we go. All right, so what do you think so far? Okay, I'm going to put on, so I had 5 between that one and the heart and the charm, so I'm going to do 5 more, and then we will see where we're at then. Now this one, because it has a bail, I'm going to just try it without the jump ring and see what it looks like. So that's what it's sitting like now, and I actually think even though it's hanging on a little bit of an angle, if I added a jump ring it would make it hang sideways. So I'm actually going to leave it like that, and I think that will be fine. Okay, so we're going to add some more beads, and I'm going to add 4 this time instead of the 5 and see what that looks like. And I'm going to put a jump ring on this one. Now my loop on this one isn't quite closed. So I wanted to show you what you do if you have a loop that's not closed. So I'm taking my pliers, my chain nose pliers, and I'm holding it on the side that it opens. And what I'm going to do is lift up slightly, and as I come down I'm going to push it towards the other side of the loop. So it's kind of an up and over movement. And you might have to do it several times until it is closed properly and you can feel that it's no longer, you can kind of feel when they touch. And as I said, sometimes it helps to look at it from different angles. All right, so there is my loop and it's closed. So it's kind of an up and over movement. Now I do think I will need a jump ring for this one. So just taking my jump ring and opening it, just like before, and adding it on. And closing it up. When you close your jump rings, you will kind of feel them the metal kind of grate together if they're closed properly. All right, and now I'm going to just thread on the rest of these beads. Now before I go any further, what I need to do is make sure that it's going to fit me. So I'm going to pop it around, and I can see it's way too short. I probably need another 5 beads on there because that's the length that I want it. It's pretty though, isn't it? So I'm going to pop on some more beads and just test it again once I've done that. So I've popped 5 on one side. I'm going to take off my bead stopper, switch it over and put it on the other side, and just put 5 more on this side as well. So that actually fits me really well now, so I'm really happy with that. It will be slightly longer when I add my clasp, but pretty close. If you're enjoying this project and you would like to see more, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll never miss a thing. This really helps my channel grow so that I can continue to bring you more great tutorials. And also, if you really like it, click that thumbs up. So what I'm going to do next is add my clasp, and I'm going to just feed on one of my little crimp beads here. Notice I'm going fishing for it with the end of my tiger tail rather than trying to poke it through. It just makes it a little bit easier. So there it is on there, and then I'm going to feed on my loop of my clasp like that. Now I'm going to go back down through my crimp bead and I'm going to go through 2 of my beads, 2 or 3. Now I know a lot of people don't do this. I just have a better feeling of security when I do it. Okay, so push your beads up so that it's, and your crimp beads, so that it's nice and close to your clasp. Now you want to make sure that it can still move around, but you want it to be reasonably close. And I'm going to take my magical crimping tool. Now if you haven't used one of these before, they are amazing. What they do is they make your crimp bead look like another bead, or like a little metal bead. So what you do is you pop it in the divot there, and then you squeeze, and then you turn it on its side, and you squeeze again. And that should hold it nice and firm. If you give it a tug, it shouldn't move. And it's created a really nice round crimp. Now I'm going to cut off my tiger tail, and I'm going to feed through all my beads up to this end. Just making sure that that end goes inside a bead. And now I'm going to take off my bead stopper, and I'm going to repeat that on the other end. Now this time, what I need to do is make sure that there's no gaps. So I'm going to pop my tiger tail back through my crimp bead here and through a couple of my beads. And I need to pull everything up. Now what will happen is that you'll get to a certain point and it'll become really challenging, although I made that look really easy, didn't I? There we go. But you want to make sure that you don't have a gap like that. So just keep pulling. Now if you pull too hard, you might get to a point where it won't pull any further. So what you can do is take your chain nose pliers and just hold the side of this loop of tiger tail here. Just one of the strands, if I can get hold of it, and give it a pull. And that tends to pull everything back down. And you see how much it moved there, and then I can pull it some more. Now you don't want your beads to be so tight that nothing moves, because you do need a little bit of movement in your necklace. Clearly I had way too much. Now I've got mine too tight because my clasp won't move. There we go. Now I'm going to take my magical crimping pliers and crimp this end as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just cut off that end, nice and close. Sometimes it helps to actually bend it so that you can get in there nice and close with your flush cutters. And that end will just disappear. There it is, but I'm actually not happy with how this heart here is hanging. Remember, we didn't use a jump ring, so I'm actually going to take it off, and I can do that because it's attached with a bail, and I'm going to put on a jump ring. So what I'm going to do is just give it a little squeeze there and try and pull it off. So now I need to decide, should I leave the bail or should I take it off? And I think I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put on a loop like I did with the others. So I'm just going to pull that off. There we go. And I'm going to take a head pin, an eye pin, and I'm going to make a little loop in the top. So just nice and close. So there we go. Just making a bend, cutting off so I have about 1 centimetre, and making my loop. Okay, so there is what I have done. And you can see I've got my loops going in opposite directions. Now I'm going to open that loop. I'll open one of the loops and I'm going to attach my heart to it. I think that the reason that this didn't work was because the other hearts will move around because they're on head pins, but this one, it's the loop is glued in, so it just wasn't going to work, it wouldn't move. Okay, now I'm going to put on my jump ring. So opening my jump ring, and I have to remember where this goes. So popping on my loop there. Now it goes 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the charm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it goes in there. Just hooking that on. This is not the ideal way to do it. There we go, it's on, and now I just need to close up that jump ring. So here's my necklace. I really love it actually. I love the colours and I think it's absolutely beautiful. So what do you think? Did I hit that edgy pearls thing I was talking about at the beginning? Let me know in the comment section below if you think I hit the mark or did I just totally miss it. Also, if you're interested in making any of the jewellery I'm wearing today, I will leave you links in the description box for my chandelier heart earrings, as well as for this necklace. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon.